Rock legend who's had his share of ups and downs. We are joined now by Nikki Sixx, founding member of revolutionary rock band Mötley Crüe and 6 a.m. He's also a three-time New York Best Time-selling author, philanthropist, photographer, and addiction recovery advocate. He's out now with a new memoir, The First 21, How I Became Nikki Sixx, and with his band 6 a.m., he has a song with that same title.
21.
That'll get you going. Nikki Sixx, thank you so much for joining us.
What's going on? Look at that little nerdy kid in that video.
I love to see those old home videos. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. We found those in my aunt's garage, like 50 years worth of 8mm footage and bad photos, which we put all in the book.
It's so good, and thank you to her for hanging on to all of that, of course. So let's start with some of your early years here. You know, first of all, it wasn't always glamorous, right? You write about being abandoned by your father, growing up with your grandparents after your mother eventually left as well. So how does that kind of process, that trauma you felt, end up influencing your music?
Well, you know, part of the, when I wrote the Heroin Diaries, which was about recovery, really, I mean, yes, I was talking about addiction in the diaries, but about recovery, I started to do a lot of deep dive work. And it was during this book, The First 21, that I got to go back and start talking to family members and started to find out that a lot of stuff that I was told by my mom wasn't true. And so I'd been carrying a lot of anger and a lot of frustration around me for a long time. And I was able to kind of take an empathetic view, a helicopter view of that time and realize there was a larger chunk being raised in the country and having time to dream and discover music on vinyl and radio to be the beginning of what would become what I do for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. And we discussed these pictures that your aunt kept, and I'm so glad that you're able to find them. I'm sure they brought back many memories, these school photos, family photos, of course, Mötley Crüe. And really, I mean, you are an accomplished photographer yourself. You have an Instagram page dedicated to your work. So how did photography become such an outlet for you? And does it also influence your music?
So I come to find out that I'm a natural born documentarian. And when I was super, super young, I was the weird kid that you would see in school that had the notebook and would be writing everything down. And I started using my words and the photography and then writing books and tying it into music. And it's really like where my head's at now, the idea of just doing any one singular thing, only doing photography or only doing books or only doing Mötley Crüe. I feel like there's more to all of it.
Yeah, a real collaborative art there. It's clear. Now, let's talk about your name. So you've changed your name a few times. You were born, right, Franklin Farana, then Nikki London, Nikki 9, now Nikki Sixx. So tell me about all the interesting ways you came up with your name, your legal name, and stage name.
So, you know, when we were starting the band London, which was the band right before Mötley Crüe, my guitar player and like my best friend, Lizzie Gray, and me were like starting to write music and we're putting this band together. And I remember his sister, he was living in his sister's house, like they had a 2-bedroom apartment, and walked in and I'm Nikki London now. And he goes, I'm Lizzie Gray. And he was born Steve Perry. And she goes, you guys are knuckleheads. But as the band started to develop, and London became a bigger part of my life, I realized I didn't want to be Nikki London of London because I was a gang member. I was a team player. So I was looking for another name. I really liked the name Nikki 9, but I'd started dating this girl. So she took pity on me and let me move in with her. And I was going through her scrapbook and I saw that she had dated this guy named Nikki Sixx. He had a band in Orange County called Squeeze, not UK Squeeze, but just like a local top 40 band. So anyway, she came home one day and I said, I'm not Nikki London, I'm not Nikki 9, I'm Nikki Sixx. And she's like, you can't steal his name. And, you know, I think I answered something like, well, I can steal his girlfriend, I can steal his name. And when you're young, you know, you don't realize Like, the poor guy.
Also, I want to talk, though, about the opioid addiction journey to sobriety here. You write about your heavy drug use during the height of Mötley Crüe's stardom. It was a book titled The Heroin Diaries, which you mentioned is The Heroin Diaries, a year in the life of a shattered rock star. And you wrote about how in 1987, you were actually pronounced dead for 2 minutes before the paramedics could revive you after an overdose. So, I mean, talk to me about finding the strength to overcome such a powerful addiction.
I had to make a decision. Was I going to be the guy in coffin, or was I going to be the guy on stage making music and eventually being able to be a father, which at the time I was carrying all the information that my dad had abandoned me coldly. He did leave. My mom did leave. They don't get off the hook that easy, but it's not the story my mom told. Some of that, I believe, led to my addiction. And if you're dealing with family issues or health issues and you keep doing it, you're going to become an addict, and then you don't want to go through withdrawal. And eventually you either die or go to jail. That's going to be your story. You're going to die, you're going to go to jail, you're going to get sober. But I like to talk about the sobriety in it and the recovery in it, and hopefully stop people from making that mistake that I made.
Scary choices to be stuck with there. So this book that we've been talking about, it's your fourth book, your second memoir. In the short time that we have left here, what is really the one thing you want people to take away from it?
Work hard, don't complain, keep your eye on the end zone, and I would do anything and everything, and I still will, to be the best at what I do. And I said at one point, I want to be in rock and roll. I want to make music for a living. And what do we do with that? And I believe in my book, you can see there's a bit of a roadmap on how to get there. And I hope people enjoy it.
Absolutely. Nikki Sixx, absolutely a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. Anytime.
Now, his new memoir, The First 21, How I Became Nikki Sixx, is available wherever books are sold.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.